Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
We're into October. Crazy to think we're already into October. But Montana State still doesn't have a loss. Pretty good start for the Cats. I know that the pundits and the haters want to say, well, they haven't played anybody yet. But when you're beating everybody by 4 touchdowns and you're rushing for, I guess the best way I can put it in perspective, the dominance of the Cats so far is on Saturday, they rushed for 269 yards and they averaged 5.6 yards per carry. That was their worst rushing performance of the season so far. So they've basically just ran the ball down every single team they've played's throats. And it honestly, it doesn't even, it overwhelms all of the other analysis you can give. Because if you're just going to run the ball like that, who can beat you? I don't know. Mike Ryder joined us here for his weekly hit, Riding with Ryder. Your thoughts on Montana State? I thought Idaho State actually played well against the run, and they still just, here we are. Scott Henry had 160 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the Cats averaged almost 6 yards a carry. It's amazing.
Yeah, those first couple quarters, Colter, I was impressed with what Idaho State did. There wasn't a lot of yak. That first contact, actually, those guys did a really good job getting guys down. The run fits looked really, really good. I thought that the defensive front held up well. But then, you look down and you're like, he's got 160 yards. I'm like, what have I missed, right? Now, it was a steady dose of Scott Humphrey. I think that's probably I don't know how many carries, but he definitely had, I think 25 carries,
27,
somewhere around that. 27, yeah. So that's probably one of his healthiest workloads. Interesting to see that they didn't spread the wealth as much in terms of getting other guys carries. Adam Jones, had some carries, but I don't remember seeing a lot of Jared White or anybody else. So, look, 5.5 yards a carry. Most teams, they would hang their hat on like 269 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. They'd be like, boy, this is one of our top performances of the year. And here we are looking at like, well, they didn't quite get to 300 like they have the last handful of games. So impressed with the O-line, still missing, Perkins, the guy, at center. I feel like Colstain has done a good job. And I think winning on the road's hard, Colter, and your run game travels. And I think I was just equally as impressed. They've done a really good job. Wasn't maybe as polished and as dominant as it has been in the past. That late touchdown makes it look a little bit better too. So kind of interesting win, but winning on the road and winning in the Big Sky on the road in particular is tough to do. And you got to take it and take the momentum into this week's against Northern Colorado.
They're not quite to the midpoint of the year, but they will be. I guess to the mid, half the games will be done by the end of this week. They've done all of this without Justice Perkins, who's one of their captains, one of their best players. They've done this without Julius Davis, who's their all-conference running back, a guy that played in the Big Ten, so his credentials and pedigree is certainly well known and proven, and a whole bunch of other guys too. Is there any worry when those guys come back that it disrupts the rhythm or the chemistry? Or I don't know. It's just so amazing to me how they don't ever seem to have any disruption in rhythm or chemistry, no matter who's coming in and who's coming out.
Yeah. Colter, I think that's a good question. I think if there's one position where it doesn't matter, it's that. It's running back. There's something interesting where, look, if you're talking quarterback, even you're talking offensive line, you could probably argue something similar, maybe in the secondary. I think linebackers and D-line, I think, if your assignment sound, there's a little bit less communication specifically on the D front. I think you can plug and play. I think running back's one of those positions, man. You're going to get your touches. The scheme, they may shift a little bit in terms of some of the play call based on who's in there. But, boy, fresh equals fast. And if you've got 3 or 4 backs that you can rotate in there and they all pack a little bit of a different punch, different running style, that is a tough thing for a defense. You know, Scott Trent Humphrey's going to run differently than Julius Davis will. And, you know, name the other examples versus Jared White versus Adam Jones. I don't think it throws it off. I think it's a huge, huge advantage on the offensive side of the ball.
It's also just been so impressive how it doesn't matter who's gone down on the offensive line. Like when Perkins got hurt and I heard that news, I thought, man, that's the second most detrimental injury that they could have besides Tommy Millott.
Yeah.
And it hasn't mattered. Like Cole Sain has looked like an all-conference player. It's been impressive to watch. But then you talk about the other injuries, whether it's, I mean, Connor Moore went down for a little while on Saturday. Usually, you know, your all-American NFL caliber left tackle goes down. And by the way, if you watch the Pro Football Focus videos, he's definitely an NFL caliber type of guy. He's like maybe going to be the top draft prospect in his entire class in the Big Sky in a couple years here. I mean, he's amazing. He's grading out at a really high level. But regardless, usually if you go out, that guy goes out and you throw in, you know, redshirt freshman and Cedric Jefferson, most teams are screwed. Like it's a complete disaster. None of it doesn't matter, man. They've been playing Ware at guard and tackle. They've been playing Jefferson at the left side. They've been playing Titan Fleischman sometimes. It's just so impressive to me. It's impressive for two reasons. One, that's just impressive in the broad scope of football. But two, it's getting way harder to get great offensive linemen at the FCS level. It's just amazing to me Montana State has 7-8 guys that are better than anybody else in the league has. It's really, really, really amazing to me that they've been able to recruit and develop like they have.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It's really incredible. I think it comes from it starts with recruiting, right? What does their evaluation look like? And they've hit. Of course, you're going to miss in recruiting, but they've hit a lot, Colter, on some of these guys. I mean, not crazy, highly touted. Some of them have been transfers. Some of them are high school guys. So you look at Justice Perkins. I don't know if that's a recruiting focus based on his size and what he was coming out of high school, but like you look at what they've done on the recruiting side, and there's something in the evaluation of talent. Somebody's got an eye, and the crazy thing is, some of it was Brian Armstrong, the offensive line coach, and they've had a new offensive line coach with Al Johnson. So I don't know if it's the evaluation on the front end, the development, of course, on the field with these position coaches, which is impressive. Some of the schemes have stayed pretty similar, which is helpful. I'm sure some of the terminology has changed, but then you cannot underestimate the power of developing guys in the weight room. And so I think it speaks a lot to Sean Herron. I'm surprised he's still around. I think he's probably hitching his wagon to Coach Vigen for obvious reasons, hoping that he gets this next job, which, you and I both know that's probably going to happen. And so all that to say, you have to give credit to Coach Sean Herron. He's developed these guys, in terms of their quick twitch and their strength, and they're ready to go. And so you got to put it all together. Was your recruiting right? Did you have some of the intangibles? Are they being developed in the weight room? And are they developed on the field and their coaching? And you put it all together, and you've got 7 or 8 guys. I mean, what a luxury. And then you've got injuries that happen, so you get banked reps by some of these guys. And now you're heading into the mid part of the season. You've got reps for a lot of guys, and you throw in an unselfish attitude. I know everybody wants to play, but everybody, when their number's called, I think Coach Vigen's done a good job with that. Guys are ready to rock and roll. And at any position, specifically in the trenches, offensive or defensive line, if you have that, boy, you're going to have a tough team to beat.
There's always a party in Montana, whether you're going to a wedding, a football game, a concert. Montana Party Bus can get you there safe and will take you anywhere in Montana. You can relax with friends in style, luxury, and safety. Western Montana based for local and regional travel within Montana borders. Montana Party Bus is great for both large and small groups with a capacity of up to 30 guests. If you want to elevate your event, call them anytime, 406-200-8096. You can also visit mtpartybus.com. Travel anywhere in Montana in style with the Montana Party Bus. The other thing I think that, I've thought about this a lot. I think the one thing Montana State as a football program deserves credit for is that the formula for recruiting and developing offensive linemen was established by Mike Kramer and especially Jason McIndoe in the early 2000s, and they never went away from it. The offensive line specifically, they've had all sorts of varying recruiting strategies and personnel strategies at every other position, but the offensive line has been the same. You recruit the athletic guy that can put on some weight, whether that's Brett Schwaggart or John Weidenauer or Connor Moore, like those are the same guy. They just they're just in different generations, right? And then you say, hey, if you are a dude that we think is really, really good, we're going to play you. We're going to play you right away. And we're going to let you figure it out. Mitch Brott couldn't do it when he first got playing, and then all of a sudden he's the best player on the whole team, right? So, and that was Weidenauer, that was Schwaggart, that was Leo Davis, that all on down the line.
Name them: Alex Terry and Conrad Burbank, Mike Person, right? And then you sprinkle in a few of the walk-on guys like a Sean Sampson, like a Justice Perkins, and you get a good mix in there, and all of a sudden, those are not like, I mean, those are kind of lucky recruits, right? You get some of those guys, you hope they develop, like a Jimmy Verlander. I mean, that's a real throwback, right? But you put it all together. I'm with you, man. You're recruiting these high athletic guys that can put on some weight. They've got really good bend. I learned a lot from Coach Jason Eck as well on the offensive line side. The 1 year that I was able to coach with him, he just talked so much about what a kid looks like in his stance. I learned a tremendous amount. Like you look at his knee bend and his ability. What does he look like on contact? But just a simple evaluation of what he looks like in his stance, right? What do his feet look like? Are his heels coming off the ground? Or can he got good flexibility and good knee bend? And I think they've done a really good job on a lot of these guys. And look, you're not going to hit every one, Colter. I mean, that's not how recruiting works. And they've certainly had some misses. But boy, they have hit a whole lot more than they've missed. And so it's cool to see. It's a cool tradition at Montana State. Tough, physical, good athletic offensive linemen, and that's how you win football games.
It's the athletic part too. They're also athletic. That's been the other part. And they've also, last point on this, they've just done such a great job of when they need to fill a spot, looking elsewhere on the roster. I mean, whether it's Casey Dennehy or Leo Davis or Stephen Foster or lately Marcus Ware, man, like, what's the point of having Ware being your third string buck end when he can be an All-American guard? Like, just they've done a good job of identifying that stuff as well. I know you got to go, but last question for you here, riding with Ryder here on the Big Sky Breakdown, as well as SkylineSportsMT.com YouTube channel. North Colorado hasn't won in a couple years. 0 for Ed Lamb so far as the head coach. I feel bad for him because I think he's a great coach, and I just think that's a really bad situation. I think the lack of engagement by Ed McCaffrey messed that program up, and I think they're going to struggle with it for several years because they didn't do anything like a D1 program, and it's really unfortunate for them and the university. But anyways, when you're the Cats, how do you not see the 18 straight losses and then overlook a team, especially with Idaho looming a week away?
Yeah. Advantage. This is at home, right, Colter? I think you go down to Greeley. It's definitely a different story. They play a little bit tougher there. I've been a part of a couple of those games down there, and it's brutal, especially when you got on the tail end, as you mentioned, a big conference game against Idaho. But huge advantage being at home. That home field advantage is going to be big. Crowd's going to be there. It's homecoming. And so, look, this is what high caliber, high character, senior-laden teams do is they handle business. And I don't think it's going to be a problem for these guys back home. And again, this sounds like I say it every week, Holder, but when you run the football, there's just something to that. It's so much easier, not easier, it's so much more consistent, and it travels, whether it's home or away, or it's like there's just a physicality to it. There's not a touch, there's not a timing. Of course, there's a little bit of that, but it's like, look, we've got big, strong dudes, and we're going to go get after them, and we're going to push guys around on the offensive front. We're going to get to the second level, and our backs are going to do what they do. The run game just travels. It's more consistent, and And as opposed to the teams that go out there and they throw it 40 times a game, there's just so much that can go wrong with that. And I am so confident week in and week out of the ability to run the football that I just feel like it allows you to be consistent. It also shortens the ball game. So if you're throwing the football all the time, like when that game is like kind of tight, you're trying to throw the football a lot, and it just can become a struggle, and it can be a bad combination of errors. And I just feel like how they're built with their seniors, offensive line, running the football, game at home, I think they'll handle everything okay. And they've got a mature team. But last thing I'll tell you, just on the defensive side, we didn't touch a lot on them. They've had some injuries. I have just a little bit of concern on the defensive side of the ball, specific to the corners. We saw some mismatches last week on the size. That could be something to watch as the season goes on. Just some of the corners and being able to rotate guys in, and had some injuries, and then John Johnson's out again for the first half next week. I think there's still a team that is figuring out who they are on the defensive side of the ball. I think they've done a really good job, obviously, holding the team to 17 points. But that along with their linebackers, we've said it from the get-go. Not a ton of depth. Not a ton of flash. I think they do a pretty good job of being physical, but there's still some plays here and there that are a little bit of head scratchers. So helps when you got a whole lot of hockey shifts going on the defensive front, and they've got some good players there and keeps people fresh. But I think it's something to watch. Second and third level of the Bobcat defense, can they get some things short up?
Mike Ryder, riding with Ryder here on the Big Sky Breakdown, SkylineSports17.com. Thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate you, Colter. Thanks, man.
So will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.